Terence Bud Crawford will beat the brakes off of Baby, you want Baby. I know that. Canelo Alvarez, according to Timothy Bradley, in a brand new post from Timothy Bradley. Listen, it's getting out of hand. First, I'm going to let you know what Tim Bradley had to say, but Baldhead Bradley is at it again, being Baldhead Bradley. You guys see it. Tim Bradley, Terence Crawford will beat the brakes off of Canelo. Tim Bradley says he woke up at 3 a.m., studied Canelo and Terence Crawford, and concluded the Mexican star will get the brakes beaten out of him if they fight this year. The commentator Bradley doesn't specify why he believes smaller, weaker, and older. Whoever wrote this is hilarious for that. It says Bradley doesn't specify why he believes the smaller, weaker, and older 37-year-old Terence Crawford can dethrone the unified super middleweight champion. He thinks he can. Crawford just moved up to 154 last summer, August 3rd. He barely scraped by a 12th round unanimous decision over Madrimov, which is exactly what I've said. There were close scorecards for the record. In fact, I have them right here. What is this? Okay, Crawford, boom. UD, unanimous decision. And you had Benoit Russell, 115, 113. Fernando, he had a card of 116, 112. Steve Weisfeld, 115, 113. Again, Ego doesn't just talk about it. I actually show you. So, yeah, I think that article is fair in saying you barely scraped by. You didn't win by knockout. You didn't hurt Madrimov to the point where it looked anywhere close to being stopped. Like, even Shane Mosley could say, I rocked Floyd and rocked his world, and he was almost out of there. Nothing like that happened in the fight. And yet, the Bud Buddies are just talking crazy. So, yeah, that's a problem. Crawford just moved up to 54 or went over that. Crawford looked like an old prospector that contest who panned his limit of gold at a riverbed. Oh, wow. It says, something told me to study Canelo. This is a direct quote from Bradley, by the way. Something told me to study Canelo, study Crawford. Crawford is about to beat the ish out of Canelo Alvarez. I'm letting y'all know right now, he's about to beat the brakes off of Canelo Alvarez. Yes, he is. Now, needless to say, this is horrendous commentary from Tim Bradley. For one, if you feel that, see, this is the difference between me, the best in the business, and it's not even close, and Brand X, whoever. People can say that Crawford is going to beat the ish and beat the dogs out of Canelo, beat the brakes off of him, all these things, but you're not even eloquently putting it, nor are you breaking it down from the sweet science as to why that will be the case. You have a relationship with Bradley. Bradley has a relationship with Bud. We know that. And we heard that Bud beat the brakes off of Bradley in sparring. So, yes, you have this love fest for Crawford in that regard. So now you're just saying that Crawford's unacquittable. First of all, I don't even like doing predictions when there's no assigned fight. If you watch my channel, you know that. Furthermore, this just sounds stupid to have such a... Bradley, he has these shock jock type of commentary where you watch him on ESPN and he'll be like, oh, he hurt. And I've watched this time and time again. He'll say he hurt to whoever's in the ring. Like, let's say Derevyanchenko. I think that was a fight. Derevyanchenko fought Billy, and Bradley was barking, he hurt. Like, let's say in round 2. And then you keep screaming, he's hurt. And then Derevyanchenko goes 12 rounds, the full distance with Billy, never gets knocked down, and actually does better in the second half of the fight. So where's all the he hurt radical stuff? So I don't like commentary like what Bradley has 9 times out of 10. Too radical, too over the top. If you believe that Crawford will destroy Canelo in such a way, I'm going to need to hear a breakdown, me personally. Anybody could say these crazy, I got an invention that'll make $100 million. Trust me on that, bro. You're like, put up this amount of money, but trust me, I'm not going to give you a PowerPoint slide presentation telling you how I'm going to make $100 million. Trust me, bro. I got the answer. Like, that's not good enough. And in boxing, if you're a fan of boxing, that shouldn't be good enough for you either. So he didn't really, outside of saying you studied at 3 a.m, you didn't really say what Canelo does wrong or what Crawford would do to beat the brakes. The other thing is, like I've said from the beginning, y'all are really treating boxing like a video game, as if moving through weight classes doesn't matter and these fighters are immortal and it's a video game. They could just level up, keep going to new divisions with no problem. Like, look at Andre Ward, class act, talented fighter, my dude. Ward had 2 tune-ups and then fought Kovalev, still got dropped in the first fight and a tough fight. Imagine if Ward wasn't as cerebral and smart and went from 68 to 175 to fight a prime Sergey Crusher Kovalev. That fight might have been different because he didn't give himself time to acclimate to a new division. So Andre, being a genius in boxing, he did it the right way. He told HBO, I'll fight Kovalev. I'm a fighter, no problem. But you're going to give me 2 tune-ups. We'll agree on the names or whatever. Then I'll fight. And that's what he did. Alexander Brand, Sullivan Barrera. I covered all of Ward's last career fights live. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? Like, everything's a process. He moved up, because he also said he had knee issues in the first fight. So imagine if he had knee issues that he had in the Kovalev fight and he couldn't do his running, plus it was your first fight in the new division. Kovalev was really a good fighter in his prime at that time. That could have ended bad for Ward, but Ward wasn't going for no trickery, no sorcery, and he's not dumb. So he acclimated to the division, let his body, and if you look at, by the time he fought Kovalev, his body had filled out. I was in his gym, pause. But you could see he had filled out more. That's how it works. So to see Crawford move up in one fell swoop and beat the ish, because that's what would happen. Crawford is not talking about, yo, let me fight Berlanga, let me fight Billy, and then I'll be ready for Canelo. He's talking about moving from 47, one fight at 54, let me go straight up and fight Canelo at 168. At first he said a catch weight. Canelo said, So now he's been on some 168. To me, it's a cash grab then. Unless you can prove your worth in the divisions, or you cleaned out your current division, which is 2 divisions under Canelo, who was undisputed at the division you would fight him at. Canelo's not going to give you no breaks. He's not going to take it easy on you. He's not going to surrender and give himself a rehydration clause. So who knows? This is why I don't care about the fight. A lot of you guys are poor critics of boxing because you don't even know what you're talking about. You think these guys are invincible and they're like, oh, but Crawford, he weighed 168 in his last fight, but whatever. There's a difference weighing that much when your opponent is weighing more than that. Like, so if Crawford weighed 168 as a 154 pounder, that's how much he rehydrated. But Canelo, being a 168 pounder with 2 fights at 175, he might be 200 pounds, 195 pounds, 192 pounds when he rehydrates. That's the danger with weight. And when I say these things, people say, oh, you're hating on Crawford. Crawford's going to destroy Canelo and you're scared. Trust me, that is the last thing out of multiple fights. That is the last thing on my mind about being scared of a Canelo with the granite chin being knocked out by Crawford, moving up in one fell swoop from 154 pounds, in which he hasn't cleared out he hasn't fought the likes of Murtazaev, even a Jermell Charlo, who's coming off a loss. Erickson Lubin, he ain't fought no style or no person like that. He has 1 fight, right? Just to give you guys an idea. Canelo's at 168, And I'll give Crawford 154 because he got one in the can. So 168 minus one, that's still 14 pounds. And that's 14 pounds to a new junior middle 154 pounder. Not someone who's been there and been fighting. We don't even know how Crawford would look versus Murtazaev. You could say, like Bradley, oh, Bakaram Murtazaev will get destroyed. But Mean Machine put up a competitive effort at 47 with Crawford and even dropped him. So the way I seen Bakaram Murtazaev and guys like Sergey Boachuk and Taulo, Sebastian Fundora and Virgil Ortiz and these different names, I don't know how Crawford would fare with them. I can assume, like Virgil Ortiz is really a man's man. The way he was taking shots and getting back up, he showed a lot of heart versus Boachuk. I had Boachuk winning, but he wanted it and he's strong. So I don't really know in this new weight class. At 47, I would have picked Crawford. But at 54, with Virgil Ortiz Jr. getting a head start and having more difficult fight with Boachuk, you know, at the new weight class, he has a head start on Crawford because he got multiple fights at 54. Crawford's only on his first. So we haven't so much as seen Crawford unify. Notice Crawford, when he became undisputed, he never unified, right? He could have stayed at 47 for one fight and fought Jaron Ennis at 47. He didn't do it. After Ndongo, he moved up from 40 to 47, and that's the reality. Nothing I'm saying is a lie. So miss me with Tim Bradley's commentary saying that Canelo gets destroyed. You haven't even destroyed anybody at 54, so why would I just assume that you could pull this off and not, and we're talking about destroy, not saying that Crawford can't make it competitive. He's a fighter. I'm not saying he can't make it challenging, but Kell Brook made it competitive versus Golovkin. Hell no, God, this is nothing, pies and nothing, tick, tick. He made it competitive until he couldn't make it competitive. So I don't expect anything less if Canelo were to fight against Crawford. Yeah, he's going to try. He's going to put his best foot forward, try to have a solid camp. But at age 37, without properly acclimating, I don't see this as being a good fight. And if you want to change my mind, I told you the path to it. Crawford, take a fight or two against a Berlanga, guy like that at 68, no rehydration clause, so we can see how you look and see if you look, because you have to understand when you're moving up in weight, and I know I'm being too scientific, these other content creators, they're not on this level. They're not telling you, they're just trying to make you feel something emotional, right? I'm talking actual boxing. From a boxing perspective, the more you move up, you have to worry about retaining your power, retaining your speed, having extra muscles and bulking up, but also not getting tired with the extra muscle. Like, remember when Wilder was chipped up in the third fight with Tyson Fury? Wilder looked like the biggest we've ever seen him, but he wasn't able to carry the muscle as much as Fury, who didn't look like a Greek god. He didn't look like his shape was amazing, but he's the more natural, bigger guy. Fury's been 400 pounds, so him being at 280, 300, pushing 300, that's not abnormal for him. But Wilder, who spent his career in some of his fights at like 209, 212, 214, under sub 222, him with the added weight, he did good as long as he could do, but carrying the extra weight looked to me in the Wilder Fury third fight that it tired him out on top of what Fury was doing. So we're assuming that Crawford power transitions to the point where he could hurt Canelo or get respect. You have to hope his speed and mobility is the same despite being added weight. I don't care about sparring and walk around weight. I'm talking about in a pro fight in front of cameras on pay-per-view. And you got to worry about the fighter carrying. It's like get on a treadmill and then put on a 14-pound, because that's what Crawford would have to move up, put up a 14-pound weighted vest and get on that same treadmill and tell me it's not harder. Anybody who's done that, you can get an 8-pound vest. You're going to notice a difference. And that's almost like less than half of 7 plus 7 is 14. So that's like almost half the size. And you're gonna notice a difference with an 8-pound weight vest, let alone 14. It's stupid. I said what I said is stupid, and I keep saying why. So believe me, believe Tim Bradley, who's saying this radical stuff unexplained. I spent the duration of this video explaining why there's better fights. I'm not saying they're as big for Crawford as Canelo, but they're fights that to me are more reasonable, which is what boxing should be getting back to. If you like Jake Paul and a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, this channel might not be for you. If you think that's like a legendary fight that's always going to be revered, I'm not into that. I'm into real stuff that really makes sense. Not like these fantasy fights and stuff like that. Again, Bud has an opportunity. Canelo fights typically 2 times a year. He's even fought 4 times a year in some recent years. Fight a guy like Edgar Berlanga at the full 168, no catch weight, no rehydration clause. Show me how you do with that, or Morrell, because Morrell probably can drop back down. Fight an Andrade, Caleb Plant, anybody like that at 168. Even the Trevor McCumbee, I'll take McCumbee. Give me McCumbee and Mbilli, and then scrape both of those dudes, and then I'll be like, okay, if he making it look like easy work, then Crawford's really a unicorn. You guys are telling me that he's a unicorn in other divisions. Now, if you just kept it real, which is what I'm doing, and said Crawford's a great fighter, and he's shown he's a great fighter in the divisions he's fought, I got no problem with that. You're telling me he's a unicorn in the division where we haven't even seen him fight that much at 54. We never seen him fight at 60 or 68, but you're saying he's going to be the same fighter. And Bradley's saying that Canelo will get the brakes beat off him. We'll see. I don't even know if they'll fight, but we'll see if they do.